Brother slept with my ex-girlfriend. 2 days after we broke up, swore. Nothing happened before their baby was born. Exactly 8 months later, math doesn't lie, confronted him. He said, "You broke up, she was fair game." 5 years later, she cheated on him. He calls me crying. I don't understand how she could do this. I laughed and said, "Weird how that feels," and hung up. Hey everyone, this is probably going to be the most satisfying story you read all week about how patience and silence can be the most brutal form of revenge. Buckle up because this took 5 years to play out, but man was it worth the wait. So I'm 32 now, but this whole thing started when I was 25. Back then, I was dating this girl. I'll call her Jessica, for about 3 years. We met in college, started dating senior year, and kept it going after graduation. She was 24 at the time. Nothing crazy special about the relationship at first. Just your typical mid-20s thing where you're figuring out if this is the person you want to build a life with, or if you're just coasting. Looking back, there were probably signs I should have paid attention to. Little things that didn't seem important at the time, but took on new meaning later. The way she'd get dressed up for casual hangouts with Tyler. How she'd mention him in conversations more than necessary. The inside jokes they developed that I wasn't part of. But when you trust someone, you don't look for reasons not to. That's the whole point of trust, right? You give people the benefit of the doubt because you believe they deserve it. My brother Tyler was 23 back then, younger than me by 2 years. But you'd think it was 10 based on how different we were. I was always the serious one. Got my degree in mechanical engineering, landed a decent job at a manufacturing company right out of school, started building my career brick by brick, put in the hours, learned from the senior engineers, took on extra projects to prove myself. I had this 5-year plan that I actually stuck to, which apparently made me the boring one at family gatherings. Tyler was the fun one, the charming one, the one who could talk his way into or out of anything. He bounced between jobs like he was allergic to responsibility, but somehow always landed on his feet because he had this way with people. He'd quit a job on Monday and have a new one by Friday, usually making more money despite having fewer qualifications. It was frustrating watching him coast through life while I ground away at building something stable, but I figured we were just different people with different approaches. Didn't make either of us wrong. Or so I thought. Growing up, we were close. Not best friends, but solid. Did the normal brother stuff, played video games together, covered for each other when one of us was sneaking out, had each other's backs when it mattered. Our parents always treated us pretty equally, which looking back was probably the only thing that kept me from seeing the red flags earlier. Jessica and Tyler got along great. Too great, if I'm being honest, but at the time I just thought it was nice that my girlfriend and my brother were friendly. She'd laugh at all his jokes, always wanted to include him when we hung out, would message him directly sometimes to coordinate plans. I thought it showed she cared about being part of my family. The relationship with Jessica had been getting rocky for about 6 months before we finally broke up. Nothing dramatic, we were just growing apart. She wanted to go out more. I was focused on this big project at work that had me putting in 60-hour weeks. We'd fight about stupid stuff, then make up, then fight again. Classic slow death of a relationship that probably should have ended sooner. I remember one fight in particular, about 3 weeks before we broke up. She wanted to go to this concert with friends, and I'd already committed to working through the weekend to meet a deadline. She accused me of prioritizing work over her. I accused her of not understanding that building a career requires sacrifice. We were both right and both wrong, the way couples usually are when they're fighting about surface issues, instead of addressing the real problem underneath. The real problem was that we wanted different things. She wanted spontaneity and adventure. I wanted stability and planning. Neither is bad, they're just incompatible long term. But at 25, you don't always see that clearly. You think love conquers all, that compromise solves everything, that if you just try harder, it'll work out. The breakup itself was pretty mutual. We had this long talk one night, where we both basically admitted we weren't happy anymore. She cried a little. I felt that weird relief mixed with sadness you get when something ends that you knew was already over. We agreed to stay friendly, do the whole mature adult thing. I moved my stuff out of her apartment over the next couple days, and that was that. Or so I thought. Funny how you can think something's over and done, tied up in a neat bow, when really it's just the beginning of something much worse. 2 days after we officially broke up, 48 hours, I'm at my parents' house for Sunday dinner. Mom always did this big family meal thing every week. Tyler shows up late, which wasn't unusual. What was unusual was how he could barely look at me during dinner. Kept checking his phone, giving these weird short answers when anyone asked him questions. I didn't think much of it at the time. Tyler was always kind of scattered, always had some drama going on with work or friends or whatever. After dinner, I headed back to my apartment and dove into work stuff, trying to keep my mind off the breakup. About a week later, I ran into one of Jessica's friends at the grocery store, Sarah. We'd hung out plenty of times when Jessica and I were together. She got this uncomfortable look on her face when she saw me, like she wanted to be literally anywhere else. Hey, she said, not making eye contact. How are you doing? Fine, I said. Breakups suck, but you know, life goes on. She nodded, still looking uncomfortable. Then she said something that didn't quite register at first. Yeah, I'm sorry about everything. Everything? We broke up. What everything? What do you mean? I asked. She looked genuinely shocked that I didn't know. Oh, I thought, never mind, I should go. But I wasn't letting it go. Sarah, what's going on? She sighed, realizing she'd already said too much to back out now. Jessica's seeing someone. I figured you knew. Already? I said. I mean, we'd just broken up. It stung a little, but people move on. Good for her, I guess. Sarah shifted her grocery basket from one hand to the other. It's Tyler. The grocery store had this annoying fluorescent buzz that suddenly seemed really loud. Everything got very sharp and clear, the way things do when your brain is trying to process something it doesn't want to accept. My Tyler? I said, which was a stupid question. She obviously meant my Tyler. How many Tylers did we both know? I'm so sorry, she said. I really thought you knew. They've been posting pictures together and everything. I figured, I don't remember what I said next. Something polite and generic, probably. I finished my shopping on autopilot, drove home, and just sat in my apartment staring at the wall. 2 days. They waited 2 whole days after a 3-year relationship ended. I didn't call Tyler, didn't call Jessica, didn't do anything that night except think. Something about the timeline felt wrong. You don't just start a relationship 2 days after a breakup unless something was already happening before. But I'm not an idiot. I know how this works. I couldn't prove anything. And honestly, at that point, I was still trying to convince myself maybe it was just bad timing. Maybe they ran into each other, connected over the breakup. Things moved fast. Unlikely, but possible. I decided to wait and see what Tyler would do. If he'd man up and talk to me about it, or if he'd just pretend nothing was happening. He chose option 3, which I didn't even know existed. He blocked me on social media and started avoiding family dinners. Mom called me about 2 weeks after I found out. Have you talked to your brother lately? No, I said. He's been saying he's busy, but I think something's wrong. Did you two have a fight? You'd have to ask him. Sweetie, what happened? He's dating my ex-girlfriend, the one I just broke up with. Silence on the phone. Then, oh, yeah. Well, Mom said carefully, that's complicated. But you two broke up, right? So technically, Mom, don't. I'm just saying, maybe you're being a little hard on him. People's feelings don't always follow rules. This was going to be the theme for the next several months. Everyone trying to logic their way around the basic fact that what Tyler did was shady as hell. I stopped going to family dinners. Made excuses at first, then just stopped making excuses. When Mom asked why, I told her I wasn't interested in playing happy family, while everyone pretended this was normal. Dad called next. You're being stubborn about this. Okay, I said. Your brother cares about this girl. Are you really going to throw away your relationship with him over a girl you already broke up with? I'm not throwing anything away, Dad. Tyler made his choice. So did Jessica. I'm just choosing not to participate in whatever this is. That's childish, he said. Maybe, I agreed, but it's my choice to make. 3 months after I found out they were together, Mom called with news. She was trying to sound casual, but I could hear the nerves underneath. Tyler and Jessica are moving in together. Good for them, I said flatly. He wants to talk to you about it. Clear the air. Nothing to clear. He can do whatever he wants. So can I. Sweetie, please. This is tearing the family apart. No, Mom. This is Tyler and Jessica's choice. I'm just declining to pretend I'm okay with it. She started crying, which was a manipulation tactic she pulled out when logic wasn't working. I just want my boys to get along. Then maybe you should ask Tyler why he thought dating my ex-girlfriend 2 days after we broke up was a good idea. Ask him why he never once tried to talk to me about it like a man. Ask him why he blocked me instead of being honest. I hung up. Felt bad about it for maybe 10 minutes. Then remembered I wasn't the one who'd created this situation. Around month 5 of their relationship, I got a text from Tyler. First contact since everything started. We need to talk. I stared at that message for a solid 10 minutes. Part of me wanted to respond, wanted to hear what possible explanation he could give that would make any of this okay. But I knew better. There was no explanation that would change the facts. He'd made his choice. I'd made mine. I didn't respond. He tried calling. I declined it. He left a voicemail. I deleted it without listening. Whatever he had to say, I didn't need to hear it. Some bridges, once burned, should stay burned. He showed up at my apartment one evening after work. I'd just gotten home. Hadn't even changed out of my work clothes yet. Heard the knock and checked the peephole. Of course it was him. I opened the door. He was standing there looking uncomfortable, hands in his pockets. That boyish smile he always used when he wanted something. The smile that worked on everyone from our parents to his employers, to apparently my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend. "Hey, man," he said. "Can I come in?" "No," I said. The smile faltered. "Come on, don't be like this. I just want to talk." "About what? About me and Jessica?" "I know it's weird, but it's not weird, Tyler. It's calculated. You waited exactly 2 days. 2 days. Either you're the fastest mover in human history, or something was going on before we broke up. Which is it?" He had the decency to look caught for half a second before recovering. That micro-expression told me everything I needed to know, but he powered through like I hadn't noticed. "Nothing happened before you broke up. I swear. We just ran into each other. Started talking. Realized we had feelings." "Save it," I said. "I don't actually care about the details anymore." "Then why are you being like this?" "Like what? I'm not being anything. You're dating my ex. That's your choice. My choice is that I don't want you in my life anymore. Pretty simple." His face changed then. Got defensive. Angry even. Like I was the unreasonable one in this scenario. "You broke up with her. You don't get to dictate who she dates next." "You're absolutely right," I agreed. "I don't. And you don't get to dictate how I react to your choices." "She was fair game," he said. And man, those 3 words told me everything I needed to know about how he'd been thinking about Jessica even while we were together. Fair game. Like she was a prize he'd been eyeing at the fair, just waiting for his turn. Like our relationship was just an inconvenient obstacle between him and something he wanted. I smiled. Not a friendly smile. The kind of smile you give when someone confirms exactly what you suspected about them. "Fair game. Got it. Good talk, Tyler." I closed the door in his face. Heard him standing there for a minute, probably trying to figure out if he should knock again or just leave. He left. Smart choice. After that, I went full ghost mode. Blocked Tyler on everything. Blocked Jessica too. When Mom or Dad called about family stuff, I was polite but clear. If Tyler was going to be there, I wasn't coming. No drama, no big explanations, just a simple boundary. "You're being the stubborn one," Dad said during one of these calls. "Okay," I said. "You need to be the bigger person here." "I am," I said. "I'm not causing scenes. I'm not talking bad about Tyler. I'm not trying to turn anyone against him. I'm just choosing not to participate." "That's being pretty big, I think." "That's not what being the bigger person means," he argued. "Then I guess we disagree on definitions." They kept pushing. Every phone call was about how I needed to forgive Tyler, how family was more important than holding grudges, how I was missing out on important family moments. I remained polite, remained firm. 6 months after they got together, the invitation came. Baby shower invitation. Jessica was pregnant. I did the math. We broke up in April. They officially got together in early May. It was now October, and she was far enough along to have a baby shower. Due date listed on the invitation was early December. 8 months from our breakup. Not 9. 8. The math screamed what I'd suspected from day one. But here's the thing about pregnancy timing. It's not an exact science. Babies come early, dates get mixed up, measurements can be off. Unless you've got a dated conception photo with a timestamp, you're never going to prove anything definitively. And I knew that. So I didn't say anything. Didn't accuse anyone. Just declined the invitation. Mom called immediately. "You have to come. Tyler wants you there." "No, he doesn't. He wants me there so he can pretend everything's fine." "Big difference. You're going to regret missing the birth of your niece." "Maybe," I said, "but that's my choice to make." Dad took a different approach. "This is your brother's first child. Family shows up for these things. Tyler made his choices. I'm making mine. Neither of us gets to control the other's decisions." The baby was born in early December. Full term, healthy weight, all 10 fingers and toes. Got about 1 million pictures texted to me by Mom. Didn't open any of them. When she called to ask if I'd seen the photos, I just said congratulations and changed the subject. 3 months later, another invitation. Wedding invitation. Tyler and Jessica were getting married. Small ceremony, close friends and family only. My name was on the list. I sent back the RSVP card marked "regretfully declines" with no explanation. This time, Tyler showed up at my apartment again. Pounded on the door until I opened it. He looked exhausted, new parent exhausted, but also angry. What's your problem? He demanded. I don't have a problem, I said calmly. Then why won't you come to my wedding? Because I don't want to. That's it? That's your reason? Tyler, you're marrying my ex-girlfriend. You have a kid with her. You clearly don't need my blessing or approval since you did all of this without talking to me once. So why do you care if I show up? Because you're my brother. Biologically, sure. But brothers have conversations before they date each other's exes. Brothers don't ghost each other and then expect everything to be fine when it's convenient. You're seriously going to hold this grudge forever? I'm not holding a grudge. A grudge requires energy and anger. I don't feel either of those things toward you anymore. I just feel nothing. And when you feel nothing about someone, you don't go to their wedding. He stood there, mouth opening and closing like he wanted to argue, but couldn't figure out what to say. Finally, he went with, Mom and Dad are right. You're being selfish and childish. Okay, I said, and closed the door again. The wedding happened without me. I know this because Mom left me a voicemail describing how beautiful it was, how happy Tyler and Jessica looked, how I'd really missed something special. Deleted it halfway through. For the next 5 years, I maintained radio silence with Tyler and Jessica. I was cordial with Mom and Dad, talked to them on holidays, sent birthday cards, but the conversations were surface level. Weather, work, general life stuff. The second they brought up Tyler, I redirected. Eventually, they stopped trying. It wasn't always easy. There were moments when I'd see something funny and think about texting Tyler before remembering we didn't do that anymore. Times when Mom would mention something about their kid, and I'd feel a weird pang of loss for the uncle role I was actively choosing not to fill. But every time I felt weak, I remembered that fair game comment, and my resolve hardened right back up. My life moved forward, got promoted twice at work, eventually became the lead engineer on a major project that brought in contracts worth millions. The same work ethic everyone called boring in my 20s started paying serious dividends in my late 20s and early 30s. Turns out dedication builds something real, even if it's not exciting. Started dating other people casually, nothing serious. After Jessica, I was gun-shy about commitment. Went on probably 30 or 40 first dates over those 5 years. Some turned into second or third dates. A couple lasted a few months, but nothing stuck. And honestly, I wasn't trying that hard. I was content being alone, building my career, figuring out who I was. Bought a house in year 3. Nothing huge, just a nice 3-bedroom place with a garage I could convert into a workshop. That's when I got into woodworking. Started with simple stuff and gradually worked up to furniture. Built my own dining table. Made a bookshelf that looked professional. Started a small side business making custom pieces. Built a solid friend group through work and hobbies. Had a core group of about 6 guys I'd hang out with regularly. None of them knew the full story about Tyler and Jessica. When they asked about my family, I just said we weren't close. They didn't pry. Life was good, quiet, drama-free. I'd work, come home, work on projects, hang with friends on weekends, travel occasionally. Went to Japan for 2 weeks and learned traditional woodworking techniques. Just lived my life on my own terms. I thought about Tyler and Jessica sometimes, usually when Mom would slip up and mention them. Heard through the parental grapevine that Tyler had gotten a better job, that they'd bought a house, that the kid was in preschool. Good for them. I meant it. I genuinely hoped they were happy. I just didn't need to be part of that happiness. Then, about 5 months ago, exactly 5 years and 3 months after our breakup, my phone rang at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Maybe curiosity. Maybe fate. Maybe just bad timing. Hello? Crying. Ugly. Gasping. Can't catch your breath crying. The kind of crying that comes from somewhere deep and broken. I'd never heard Tyler cry like that. Not when our grandfather died. Not when he broke his arm falling off a skateboard as a kid. Never. Hello? I said again. It's Tyler. His voice was wrecked. Absolutely destroyed. Could barely get the words out between the sobbing. I didn't say anything. Just waited. Part of me wanted to hang up right there. But another part, maybe the part that remembered who he used to be before Jessica, before fair game, before everything, that part made me stay on the line. She cheated on me, he managed between sobs. Jessica, she's been cheating on me. I found out today. She's leaving, taking everything. I don't understand how she could do this to me. And there it was. The moment I'd been waiting 5 years for, without even realizing I was waiting for it. 5 years of silence. 5 years of him living his life with my ex-girlfriend, probably never thinking about what he'd done to me, just enjoying his little family and his house and his seemingly perfect life. 5 years of everyone telling me to get over it, be the bigger person, let it go, stop holding grudges. 5 years of him enjoying his happy family while I was painted as the petty one who couldn't move on. The bitter brother who was too stubborn to forgive and forget. And now he was calling me, crying like his world had ended, because the woman he stole from me did to him exactly what they'd probably done to me. The poetic justice was almost too perfect. Almost. I laughed. Couldn't help it. It just came out. Not a mean laugh. Not vindictive. Just genuine amusement at the absolute absurdity of him calling me about this. What? He said, confused and still crying. Why are you laughing? Weird how that feels, isn't it? I said. My voice was calm, steady. I'd had 5 years to process betrayal. He was getting it all at once, fresh and raw. Being betrayed by someone you trust. Having your whole life pulled out from under you. Not understanding how someone could do that to you. Silence on his end. The crying had stopped. I could practically hear him processing what I was saying, the implications sinking in through his grief. Are you seriously throwing this back at me right now? I'm not throwing anything, Tyler. I'm just pointing out the irony. You called me. I'm assuming you wanted sympathy, support, a shoulder to cry on. I don't have any to give you. You made your choices. Now you get to live with the consequences. That was 5 years ago. You thought wrong. I didn't forgive you. I didn't get over it. I just stopped caring enough to argue about it. There's a difference. I need my brother right now, he said, voice cracking again. Then you should have thought about that 5 years ago. You know, before you started sleeping with my girlfriend 2 days after we broke up. Nothing happened before you broke up. How many times do I have to tell you that? Doesn't matter anymore, I said. Baby was born 8 months after we broke up, Tyler. Not 9. 8. Math doesn't lie. He went completely silent. That silence told me everything. He knew. On some level, he'd always known. I have to go, he said quietly. Yeah, you do. Lose my number. I hung up, blocked the number immediately. Felt nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication. Just the same nothing I'd felt for the past 5 years whenever I thought about him. 2 days later, Mom called. She was furious. Tyler told me what you said to him. How could you be so cruel? He's going through the worst time of his life and you laughed at him. Mom, Tyler made his bed. Now he gets to lie in it. He's your brother. Biology doesn't obligate me to provide emotional support to someone who showed me zero respect or consideration when he decided to date my ex-girlfriend literally 2 days after we broke up. You're still on about that? It's been 5 years? Exactly. It's been 5 years. 5 years of everyone telling me to get over it. Be the bigger person. Forgive and move on. Well, guess what? I was the bigger person. I didn't make a scene. I didn't badmouth him. I didn't try to turn the family against him. I just quietly removed myself from the situation. That's about as big as a person can be. But he needs you now. No, Mom. He wants something from me now. There's a difference. He didn't need me when he was making decisions that he knew would hurt me. He didn't need me at his baby shower or wedding. He was perfectly fine without me for 5 years. He only needs me now because his life fell apart, and he wants someone to make him feel better about it. She tried the guilt trip angle. This is what family does. We support each other. Family supports each other before making life decisions that screw over their siblings. Tyler chose Jessica over his relationship with me. That was his choice. He doesn't get to unchoose that now that it's inconvenient. You're being heartless. I'm being consistent. I told Tyler 5 years ago that I was done. Everyone thought I'd change my mind eventually, but I didn't. This isn't me being vindictive or holding a grudge. This is me maintaining the boundary I set half a decade ago. Mom hung up on me. Dad called an hour later with a similar speech. Got the same response. They were both furious that I wouldn't rush to Tyler's side in his time of need. But here's the thing about boundaries. They only work if you maintain them. You can't spend 5 years cutting someone off and then suddenly show up when it's convenient. That's not how this works. About a month after that phone call, the real bomb dropped. Tyler called Mom from a lawyer's office. He was getting divorced, which everyone knew, but the reason he was calling her, specifically from a lawyer's office, was wild. Jessica's lawyer had pushed for a DNA test for child support calculations. Something about determining paternity for legal purposes related to the custody arrangement. Standard procedure in divorces involving children, apparently, especially when there's a dispute about assets. Tyler fought it at first, but his lawyer apparently told him it was pretty standard in divorce cases with kids, and refusing would look suspicious. The test came back. The kid wasn't his. Not his biological child. The daughter he'd spent 5 years raising, the baby that was born exactly 8 months after my relationship with Jessica ended, the little girl whose pictures Mom had sent me hundreds of times over the years that I'd never opened. She wasn't Tyler's. Mom called me in hysterics. Full meltdown. I'd never heard her this upset, and I'd heard her pretty upset over the years. Did you know? Did you know the baby wasn't Tyler's? How would I know that? I said honestly. I haven't seen or spoken to either of them in 5 years. I haven't even looked at the pictures you sent. But you said something to Tyler about the timeline. About 8 months. You knew something was wrong. I pointed out that the math didn't add up for their story, that nothing happened before my breakup with Jessica. That's all. I never claimed to know anything beyond basic arithmetic. The fact that 8 months is less than 9 months doesn't require insider knowledge, Mom. It just requires the ability to count. This is a nightmare, Mom said. Tyler's devastated. He raised that little girl. She calls him Daddy. He's the only father she's ever known. And now Jessica's lawyer is saying he has no legal rights to her because he's not the biological father. How could Jessica do this to him? How could she lie for 5 years? And there it was. The question everyone had been avoiding for 5 years. The question I'd been screaming into the void from day one while everyone told me to be quiet and get over it. How could someone do something so fundamentally dishonest and hurtful to someone they claim to love? How could someone build an entire life on a foundation of lies and betrayal? Welcome to the party, Tyler. Population, you. The water's cold and the view sucks. But hey, at least now you understand what the rest of us have been trying to tell you. Over the next few weeks, the full story came out through Mom's phone calls, which I mostly listened to in silence. Jessica had apparently been cheating on Tyler pretty much their entire relationship. Multiple affairs. The baby wasn't Tyler's or mine. It was some third guy she'd been seeing on the side. The whole thing was a disaster that made daytime TV look tame. Tyler tried calling me twice more from different numbers. I declined both calls. The first time, he left a voicemail apologizing for everything 5 years ago, saying he understood now what he'd put me through, that he should have listened to me, that he was sorry for being so blind. Deleted without finishing it. His apologies meant nothing now. The second voicemail was different. Quieter, more resigned, more genuine, maybe. I get it now. Why you walked away. Why you never came back. I thought I was the victim 5 years ago, that you were being unreasonable about me and Jessica. But I was the problem. I knew something was off with how fast we got together. I just didn't want to look at it too closely because I wanted her. And now I've wasted 5 years on someone who never gave a shit about me. You tried to tell me. Everyone tried to tell me. I just didn't want to listen. I don't expect you to call me back. I don't expect anything. I just wanted you to know that you were right about everything, for whatever that's worth. I deleted that one too, but I'll admit, I listened to the whole thing first. Something in his voice was genuinely different. Broken, yes, but also finally honest. Dad called about a week ago. Tyler's moving back in with us temporarily. He's in bad shape. Okay, I said. He's lost everything. He's lost the house, his savings, 5 years of his life, and he's heartbroken over the kid. He loved that little girl. That's tough, I said neutrally. Can you please just talk to him? 5 minutes. That's all he's asking. No. Why not? What's it going to cost you? Dad, I'm going to explain this one more time, and then we're not going to talk about it again. 5 years ago, Tyler made a choice. He chose Jessica over his relationship with me. He chose to believe her story over basic math and common sense. He chose to cut me out of his life because it was easier than dealing with the guilt of what he was doing. Those were all his choices to make, and I respect that. My choice was to cut him out of my life permanently. Not out of anger, not out of revenge, just because I didn't want someone in my life who had shown me that our relationship meant less to him than getting with my ex-girlfriend. That was my choice, and I stick with it. But things are different now. No, Dad. Things are exactly the same. Tyler's circumstances changed. He's having a bad time now instead of a good time. But that doesn't change the fundamental issue, which is that he prioritized a relationship with my ex over his relationship with me. The fact that the relationship with Jessica blew up in his face doesn't retroactively make what he did okay. It just means he bet on the wrong horse. That's not my problem to fix. He's your brother. He stopped being my brother when he decided I was less important than a girl he barely knew. You don't get to cherry pick when family matters based on who needs help at the moment. Dad was quiet for a long time. Then, I think you're being incredibly cold about this. Maybe, or maybe I'm just someone who sets a boundary and sticks to it regardless of emotions or pressure. 5 years ago, everyone called me petty and told me to get over it. Now Tyler's life fell apart. And suddenly I'm supposed to magically forget everything because he's sad? That's not how this works. I'm not a fair-weather friend who only shows up when it's convenient. I'm also not going to be guilted into showing up after 5 years of absence just because the tables turned. So what? You're just going to let him suffer? Tyler's an adult. Adults suffer sometimes. They make bad choices and face consequences. I'm not letting him do anything. His suffering is the natural result of his decisions. Just like my absence from his life is the natural result of his decision to date Jessica. Cause and effect. We haven't talked since that conversation. Mom tried once more last week with the old he's family argument, but I shut it down pretty quick. Family is a two-way street. You don't get to drive on it one direction for 5 years and then cry when there's no return lane when you need it. Tyler's divorce should be final in a couple of months. Heard through the grapevine that Jessica cleaned him out pretty good financially. The house was in both their names, but she'd been hiding money for a while apparently. He's looking at starting over from scratch in his 30s, with nothing to show for the last 5 years except some hard lessons about trusting the wrong people. And me? I'm fine. Still making furniture, still working my job. Started seeing someone new a few months ago. Met her through a friend, taking it slow, learning from past mistakes. My life is drama-free and exactly how I want it. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.